Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a motorcycle racing TV show, Team Chicago Challenge. My email is teamdan45@gmail.com. My website is teamchicago.tv. I am here at the backside of Museum of Science Industry. About a block and a half south of here is where the original rock was set. The rock commemorates the first automobile race in the United States of America. It was set there in 1995, and Bill Wildt was here and he recorded that. I'm going to show you a little bit of footage of Bill Wildt explaining about this first automobile race from 1995. So a good number of my friends have showed up. I'm going to talk to my friends. We're going to see what their opinion of this event is. I'll show you some footage from 1995, and I think this could be a pretty good, interesting, and educational show. And don't forget my email, teamdan45@gmail.com, and I'd love to hear from my audience. 3 riders showed up to celebrate the first automobile race in the United States of America. We're looking at a 6-cylinder Honda Goldwing. We're also looking at a Paris-Dakar replica BMW. One of these riders is an old friend, and 2 of them are now new friends.
So, are you ready for me to shoot off my mouth, Dan?
Yes.
Let me know when.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm hoping everybody's in good health, and I don't know how many times that I've been here, but Dan is a big draw for me. It's nice to see him every year. I don't get a chance to see him that much all the time, and listen to him bloviate on whatever he's talking about. So, hope everybody has had a safe season, and I'll see you next spring.
Name?
Fran Koke from Arlington Heights.
And what are you riding here? Tell me about your bike.
I got an 05 GS BMW. It's been to Prudhoe Bay, and it's been to, I don't know, Colorado and all of those places. And it's got 160,000 miles on it. And I'm amazed that it has withstood all my stupidity.
I'm Jason E. from Evanston, and came down here to be a part of the historic Rock Thanksgiving meetup, celebrating the birth of automotive motorsports and motorsports period. Good to be here.
So tell me about your bike. What kind you got? It's really pretty.
This is a 1981 BMW R80 GS made into a Paris-Dakar tribute, and this is the ADV bike that started it all. The first produced ADV bike. Before this, there was only dual sport bikes, but BMW invented ADV in '81, selling this bike, which won the Paris-Dakar race in that year in 1981. I believe also in 1982 and '83.
So this is like the Trans Alp look that all the new bikes, I mean, everybody's making a model that is basically BMW started it.
Yeah,
what you're
BMW
saying.
started the whole.
Even Harley Davidson's
the whole
got one now.
category. BMW
Right.
started with this bike this year, '81 BMW GS 800.
Right. Oh, it looks great. This really looks great.
Pat Johnston from Palatine, and I just heard about this year from a friend, and I wanted to come down and see where the rock had been and hear a little bit about the history. It's been a great morning for a ride, and really wonderful people to meet. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, gentlemen. We take another look at Pat's Honda Goldwing 6-cylinder, and now we're going to jump back to 1995. Bill Wildt came to talk about the first automobile race, and there happened to be a large celebration. Bill will now tell the story of the first automobile race in the USA.
The building you are looking at is the Museum of Science and Industry, But I would like you to use your imagination and pretend that this is 100 years ago. 100 years ago was 1895, because as we tape this, it's Thanksgiving Day 1995. And 100 years ago, the Museum of Science and Industry did not exist. Girls, come on in here. I want you to hear this story because this is particularly important, and I want to really, really thank these three girls. It is freezing cold today, and it is Thanksgiving Day, and that's what it was 100 years ago, and everybody had to make a lot of sacrifices in order to participate in the event that we're talking about today. The first thing I want to mention, though, is the building behind us. Museum of Science and Industry didn't exist until the mid-1920s, and yet in 1895, when America's first automobile race was held, it started right in front of this building. So here's a little test. Tammy, you're from Hawaii, so this is new for you. Tammy P., tell us what this building was.
I remember, so wait, let me think about it.
Pegster?
Was that convention center or something, or some kind of a center?
Go ahead, Tina.
What was it?
It was built for the World's Fair.
That's exactly right. This is a leftover building from the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, which was called the Columbian Exposition. Now, the Columbian Exposition in 1893, yes, Columbian Exposition in 1893 was a pretty important event for a number of reasons. Now, this was 2 years before the time that we're talking about, and what was important about it was that it marked the beginning of alternating current. If you'll remember a fellow named Nikola Tesla, who was a famous inventor and did most of the work involving alternating current, which, if you don't know, is what everybody uses everywhere in the world for powering your houses and all that. At the time, Thomas Edison was a big proponent of direct current, DC current. Tesla was for alternating current. I won't go through the whole war of the thing, but what finally decided which way the world was going to go as far as lighting their homes and providing electricity for America and for the whole world, what really decided it was the Columbian Exposition in 1893 in Chicago, or the Chicago World's Fair, because Westinghouse, which Tesla worked for Westinghouse, got the contract to provide the electricity, which means they went with AC power, which was a brave decision back then, because this was all new technology. Nobody knew it was going to work. And the 1893 exposition was a huge success, and the lighting was absolutely brilliant, and it really proved the value of alternating current rather than direct current. I won't go into all that because this is Motorsports Unlimited, and that's not what our show is about. But I want to talk a little bit about the history of this building. This building in 1893 was lit by alternating current because it was part of the World's Fair in 1893. Something else was going on in 1893, and what that was that there was a newspaper in Chicago, and there was about a dozen newspapers at the time, but there's a newspaper called the Times Herald. Times Herald. And who was the publisher?
I can't remember.
Herman Kolstad was the publisher. Kolstad.
I knew it was with a C.
And in 1893, he took a trip to France. And in France, they had the first automobile race ever held in the world. And I believe it was Paris to Bordeaux, the first automobile race ever held in the world. And he was so impressed with how many cars, and by the way, the word cars didn't exist, the word automobile didn't exist. He was so impressed with how many horseless carriages there were that he was concerned that the United States was falling well behind. So he came back to this country, and he attended the World's Fair also. And in the World's Fair, there were only a couple of little, almost as an afterthought, devices representing the horseless carriages, and he thought America was getting way behind in this, so he wanted to use his newspaper, the Times Herald, in order to stimulate creativity in the automotive field. Or again, the automobile wasn't invented. In fact, part of what he did was he had a contest as part of this first automobile race to try to name these vehicles. And the name that won, I'll give it away because it didn't stick. Say it?
Motorcycles.
Right, Motocycles was the name that won the contest as what to call the horseless carriages. M-O-T-O-C-Y-C-L-E, motorcycle. That never really stuck. But what he did was he said, we are going to have an automobile race, and it's going to be from Milwaukee to Chicago. That didn't work out because they couldn't get all the governments involved, because it was 2 states involved and lots of counties and all that. They couldn't get that, so he finally settled on it was going to be from Chicago, from right here to Waukegan and back. It was going to be, I believe, and some of this I might not be dead accurate, I believe it was supposed to be like November 2nd, 1895, and he had like 80 entries, but when the time actually came for the start of the race, there was only 2 people with running horseless carriages, so he wanted to postpone it for another, 26 days, whatever it was, to Thanksgiving Day. Say again?
And they got mad and wanted to sue him.
Right, exactly. The 2 guys that were ready said, no, wait a minute, you said the race was going to be, this is for $5,000, this is from real money. You said the race was going to be on November 2nd, so you got to do it on November 2nd. Wildt finally came to an agreement with these guys. We'll run a demonstration race, not a race, but an exhibition from here to Waukegan and back on November 2nd, and we'll run it'll give you extra money for that. So they went for that. So these two cars ran. It was a Duryea and a Mueller-Benz, and they went to Waukegan and back, and the Duryea got into an accident in Libertyville, ran into a hay wagon and didn't finish, and the Mueller-Benz won the demonstration.
Took him 7.5 hours?
No. You're mixing up with unfortunately, we don't have recorded times for that. It's how long it took, but you're getting it mixed up with the 7.5 mile an hour speed average for the eventual race.
That's right. He was going.
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. She read a little about this last night. Okay. But in any event, this was very exciting times. So what happens? So he postpones, and you guys are freezing, right?
Nah. I'm freezing.
Well, you're from Hawaii. That's expected. poor Hawaiian girl here.
Well, we've been here in Chicago all my life, so I'm used to it.
Okay, in any event, what was important, so they postponed this race. They said, okay, we're not going to have the race on the 2nd. We had that exhibition thing, and we'll postpone it to Thanksgiving Day, which was 26 days later, Thanksgiving Day, and we'll have many more entries. 3 days before Thanksgiving Day, 1895, they had a freak snowstorm with 60-mile-an-hour winds. The city was under snow. It looked like the city was impassable for this race, and so there was pressure on him to postpone it again, but he was already kind of becoming the laughing stock. The other newspapers in town were making fun of him, saying these contraptions would never be anything, they'd never go anywhere, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. So he says that race is going to come off no matter what. We're going to do it on Thanksgiving Day. So as we stand here right now, it is just about exactly the time, 100 years ago today, the first automobile race ever held in America was held right here in Chicago, starting literally right here from this point.
Thank you, Bill, and the lovely ladies of motorsports. As we see some photos from that first race, you can see the museum in the background. Only 6 cars started. 4 were internal combustion and engine cars. 2 were electric. It was Oscar Mueller from the Mueller Auto Company in Decatur who finished second. J. Frank Duryea with his car won the race from this spot to Evanston and back, 54 miles. They averaged 7 miles an hour. The race took 7 hours and 53 minutes. You could see the snow on the ground. It was a very important date.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jeannine Laushot, and I was on Motorsports Unlimited from 1999 and involved with Bill up until 1921 when he passed December 1st. I loved doing the show. He had interviewed me and my husband, Art, at many of the shows, Chevy Vet Fest, you name it. And I was the one in the front of the show, after Samantha, that did the reading of the first automobile race in America. I'll have it posted on our Facebook page in memory of what happened today, Thanksgiving Day, 1895. And I really enjoyed reading that book. I have my copy at home, his copy at home.
Hi, good morning. I'm Samantha Bentley. I was on the show with Bill Wildt, Motorsports Unlimited, from 1998 to 2017. And I'm standing next to a bike, a BMW bike, and I convinced Bill, so in 2003 I was big into sailing as well as motorsports, and I convinced Bill to do a crossover show where we covered BMW Oracle Racing, and I got a chance to produce. He showed me how to use the camera, and I got the chance to travel with BMW Oracle Racing, and that is still today my favorite show because I got a chance to produce it. And it's always great to reconnect with Motorsports Unlimited fans. It's been almost, 10 years since the last show I did, and I miss Bill every day. He was such an important person in my career as well as in my life. Being able to be on television when there weren't that many women telling men's sports was incredible. So I always think of Bill. He played an enormous part in my career as well as in my life.
So tell me about when you used to come. You came down here one time for the Rock. So give me your impression of that day.
Well, it was cold for one thing, and so I didn't stay long, but we had a huge crowd. There was a lot of people, and of course there was the Rock, which isn't here anymore. So I'm a little disappointed that someone moved the Rock. Would love to have it back and be positioned back here because it's such a important part in our automotive history. So yeah.
So Jeannine, you were down here many, many times with Bill. So give me your impressions of those days at the Rock.
Wow. Yeah, when my husband and I first came down here with his 91 Z28 Camaro and my 86 Monte Carlo SS, that was completely stock original. His Camaro had a little bit more done to it, but yeah, the first year we came down, I even brought him a Thanksgiving Day meal because I knew he lived alone and wasn't going to be doing much, and White Castles isn't exactly what one should have for Thanksgiving. So he really got a kick out of that, and just seeing all of the people, the MG clubs, the Corvette clubs, the people from Toys for Tots, all the vintage cars that would come, and he would talk to each and every person that was here, regardless of the time. And usually by 1 o'clock we were done. But yeah, it's a shame not to be able to see the Rock with the plaque that commemorated the America's first automobile race. As I said before, Thanksgiving morning, 1895, Charles Duryea won that race, and I have somewhat of a family connection to that, actually. I discovered in doing my ancestry that my great-grand-aunt married the man, Mr. Havens, in Peoria, Illinois, who built the wooden models for the parts for Charles Duryea's car. And I'm pretty proud of that. When I discovered that, I sent it to Bill right away. He says, "Holy cow." That's all he could remark. But yeah, being down here every year with Bill, commemorating that great event was always part of our Thanksgiving morning. And we enjoyed it every time.
Okay, any final remarks?
Yes, Dan, thank you so much for continuing the tradition. Appreciate you, and I've had so much fun here with taking pictures with this beautiful BMW bike and seeing Jeannine again, and also the guys. So thank you so much for continuing in Bill Wildt's tradition.
And one last word from me is, please join our Facebook page, Motorsports Unlimited. Answer the 3 questions that I ask and join in with the over 1,000 members that we already have. We share information about motorsports, the car shows, the cruise nights, anything happening throughout the year, as well as the memories of Motorsports Unlimited.
So it's Facebook, just Motorsports Unlimited.
Motorsports Unlimited.
And you're handling that? You take care of that?
I am the administrator, right. Yes.
Great. Thank you, ladies. As we see the plaque on the granite rock, we're going to go back to 1995 as a great-grandson of J. Frank Duryea unveils the Rock.
Well, at this point, I feel like I should say, gentlemen, start your engines, but maybe if I can get you up here, Dad, we can unveil the plaque.
Well, we're here at the back of the museum. Got to hear from some of my friends. The Obama Temple is going up. I should point out that the Park District never really had a vote to let them have that land. They basically just took it. The Friends of the Park were against them putting it in this location. That's all done. The street where the rock was laid, the rock represents the first automobile race in America. It took place right here in Chicago, 1895.
Well, and also it's not.
Now, when we talk about President Obama,
It's not like when you read a car. I don't.
they probably want to get rid of the rock because they really are not for the automobile. I mean, his history, his anti-fuel, his everything he did, getting rid of the pipeline, proves that him, the radical left that's part of the Obama world, are against the automobile and especially against motorcycles, because the motorcycle and the internal combustion engine and cars represent freedom. The reason they're pushing the big lie, global warming, that's all part of Obama, that's part of Biden, this big lie of global warming. There is no global warming. There is no facts nowhere of any global warming. In fact, let me say one thing. What do they say is the evil gas? Carbon dioxide. Not carbon monoxide, which is poisonous, but carbon dioxide. Every tree, every leaf, every plant. You're going home, you're going to have sweet potatoes, you're going to have potatoes, you're going to have peas. None of that could exist without carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, all these plants, all these trees take in carbon dioxide and expel oxygen. That's how the system was created by God. You have gases in the atmosphere. There is no global warming. They want to take, and then why they want electric cars? All right, if every car today was electric, if every single car was electric, you wouldn't be able to drive your car. There'd be no electricity. There are no power plants anywhere in the United States being built. They want electric cars so they can control you. So that's, and let me throw in another subject as long as I'm on my diatribe here. Women's sports. I have a daughter, I have a son. I have 3 granddaughters. Obama's got 2 daughters. How come he's not speaking out about allowing these trans goofballs to compete in women's sports? This is how evil everything has become. Biden, by far, is the worst president in the entire history. Obama is the man behind the curtain, pulling the strings. Everything that's so evil, you see this Palestinian people in the streets, universities. It's all because of that temple, what he stands for right here in Chicago, and that's why I think the rock was stolen. Now I'm reaching out to people. If anybody, the Park District knows anything, they should let me know. If anybody at the City of Chicago knows anything, the construction company, the Obama people, where is the rock? I'm happy I have good friends that showed up today and we could talk about the rock. We can honor our good friend Bill Wildt. I mean, Bill and I go all the way back to 1970. We met at Sycamore Speedway. We raced at Santa Fe Speedway. Bill and I raced in many, many races. But politically, we did not agree either. So you can not have to agree with me and we can still be my friend. But basically, I'm pretty much correct on what I'm saying today. So that's my diatribe here at the Rock. Museum of Science Industry, World's Fair, great things took place in Chicago, and now Chicago is on the decline. So let's hope that people that see this, now Bill Wildt would always say, and I'm going to end it right here. Bill Wildt would say you should never talk politics on television. Well, Democrats have been saying that for years. Thanksgiving Day, today is Thanksgiving Day. Don't talk politics, don't talk money, don't talk religion at the dinner table. I have 8 grandchildren, now I got 5 great-grandchildren, 1 more on the way. I talk politics, I talk religion, and I talk money. They don't teach money in school anymore, they don't teach right and wrong anymore, and they don't talk about what is right and what is wrong for our government. So when you sitting at your table, Thanksgiving, this Thanksgiving, next Thanksgiving, bring up them subjects with your kids because you have to be responsible. And that's all I'm going to say today. Let's go check out some more of the people who have something to say today with 2023. We're at the Rock, Thanksgiving Day.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
We had one gentleman show up with this street legal race car. It's an Aerial, same company that built the motorcycles. He had it street legal in California. He's got a title, he said, but he didn't want to go on camera. And now we're going to hear from the #1 fan of Open Road Radio, Crazy Art.
Hi, Crazy Art here at the Rock with Dan Schmitt and other motorcycle and vehicle enthusiasts. It's here to celebrate the first car race in North America in 1895. And it used to be at the Rock right over here, but the Rock is missing, but we're still here. I just want to tell everyone to support vehicle and motor enthusiasm and join a club, support a club. You always talk about the clubs, you want to know what's going on. There's a lot of great clubs here in Chicagoland. Let's keep motorsports alive.
As we take one more look at the Rock, we'll continue with Art's comments in the next show with the legends. But we are running out of time. If you know anything about where the Rock is, let me know. You can email me or call any of my sponsors or associates. For more information about Bill Wildt, remember, you can go to Facebook. It's Motorsports Unlimited. That's right, Motorsports Unlimited on Facebook for more Bill Wildt information. To contact me, and I'd love to hear from my audience, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing for great motorcycle racing action. And I highly encourage you to visit the World of Motorcycle Museum. They're in Winamac, Indiana, 4 miles south of North Judson on Indiana Highway 39. Give them a call first at 574-896-3172. It's a great trip and a great collection of motorcycles. And if you want a copy of the Team Chicago history, go to Rich's Yamaha. Rich's Yamaha is in Lockport, Illinois. Give them a call first at 815-838-8130. Rich's Yamaha. Give them a call and make sure they have a copy of the Team Chicago history package.